Hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and today we're going to be taking a look at, as voted on by fans, the top 10 Transformers Generation Selects releases. What was interesting here is how many people were completely unaware that Selects was its own line. Some people said, what's a Selects release? It's a line, I'm not really sure how to term it other than that. Some people tried to vote for things that they thought were selects that weren't really selects. It was a bit of a weird one, but we'll see how it all works out in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and I'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this is going to be the top 10 Generation Selects releases. And it's amazing to me how many people were unaware that Generation Selects was its own thing. Some people said, were there even 10 Selects releases? Yeah, there were dozens upon dozens upon dozens. And the voters don't lie, right? Our honorable mentions, there are 5, technically 6. Let's do those first. Artfire being one of them. He's a great reuse of the Inferno mold. Unfortunately, he is prone to yellowing. Grease Pit was a reuse of Ironworks. I think Grease Pit was great. I love the blue and the yellow chest. If anything, I liked it better than Ironworks, and I loved Ironworks. Centurion drone pack, I don't know if that was selects or not. I know it was released on Pulse. I know it was in the US and never came to Canada, so I really don't know a lot about it. I counted it as an honorable mention, but that's a iffy one because I'm not sure if it was actually selects. Tiger Track, a reuse of the Siege mold in all yellow. Kind of a beautiful paint job on him, actually. And that's, of course, the Siege Sideswipe mold. And then conjointly, the Shatterglass, Optimus Prime, and Ratchet 2-pack. That's why I said 5, technically 6. The Shatterglass line was so strange. So those two were released as a 2-pack just in selects out at retail. But then we had like all of the Shatterglasses on Pulse. Some of them have shown up at a couple of retailers, or e-tailers I should say, since. Really, really weird line. None of them made the list. Again, Artfire, Grease Pit, Centurion Drone, Tiger Track, and the Shatterglass, Optimus Prime, and Ratchet. They all had the same number of votes. They did not make the list, so who did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do as we always do and kick things off with number 10 first. Now, as a collector who has worked toward having all 13 of the lineage of the Primes, as a collector who has worked toward having all of the leaders of the Autobots and the Maximals, I realize that we do have a couple of loopholes in there, and I myself don't even have a big Convoy, though I really want one. I never expected that I would have the opportunity to properly add Star Convoy. Star Convoy, of course, is a resurrected Optimus Prime. This is using the Power of the Primes Evolution Optimus Prime mold. And by the way, a lot of people have complained and said that this star doesn't stay up on his chest. There's a little red piece here that you can take off and turn around. If you do that, honestly, it stays infinitely better. Mine's fine. Mine doesn't even fall down. It's great. I think this was the right size class for him, though arguably maybe Commander class would work. He should be big enough for Micromasters to sort of use him as a base, and not for nothing, but the Kingdom Legacy Rodimus Prime, or Hot Rod, that's a little core class offering, I use that on his shoulder as the little Micromaster lad. He shouldn't be the size of a Titan or anything, because he ends up fighting Star Giant, who is planet-sized, basically, later on, and he gets inside Star Giant and destroys him from the inside out. While I think this is fine, I did think that he should be a little bit bigger. Maybe the size of a Combiner, maybe the size of Jetfire, maybe he should have been a Commander class, but I don't hate this at all. I love the remolding that was done. I love that they absolutely captured the look, and I even like his alt mode, and you can even pull off a version of the base if you like. Yeah. Star Convoy in the Selects line, an excellent release that I'm happy to have, never expected to have, and he takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we have one that really I can't argue with. I don't own this, I just don't have the room for it, but it's this guy. That's right, it is the Guardian Sentinel robot. That's the same body type as Omega Supreme. Omega Supreme, of course, was a tremendous mold. I have Wei Jiang's Ultimate Guard as my Omega Supreme, but I did review Omega Supreme way back in 2019. I think he was the Siege Titan, and I said then, really, really great, very tremendous, very solid, excellent articulation. I think when we get to the base mode, I think the fact that he's mostly kind of all held together is really interesting. I think the shuttle is effective even if gigantic, and while it is arguable that the track is too small, I think having it all compact really works. It makes it feel like a rocket base. The nice thing about having the track small is that you can take multiple Omega Supremes, or this guy, or Omega and this guy, or multiple of this guy and an Omega Supreme, and you can join up all of these base pieces because that's the way the tracks work. They're all able to interconnect. I have also not heard of any discoloration of the white, the gray, or the blue on the Omega Sentinel Guard robot thing. And quite frankly, I think that that's great because it's happened on so many. Can't be happening on Titans, man. Just can't be happening on Titans. Yeah, honestly, the big Guardian robot. Fantastic. It takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we have this guy. That's right, it's G2 Ramjet. Now, I have the original version of the mold that came in the 2-pack, not because I got my 2-pack, but because I was hooked up with it by our good buddy Masterfire. Shout out to Masterfire, he's a good dude. But there are people who said, look, I didn't get the 2-pack. I'd like to have the cone heads. I managed to get a thrust. Although a lot of people didn't manage to get a thrust either. I got a Legacy Dirge. And then what did they do? They said, you know what, I'll get the G2 Ramjet. At least it's a Ramjet, and I'm okay with the kind of beautiful black and purple that's broken up by the loud teal color. I'm fine with that. And honestly, there's an argument for that. In fact, some people said, I grew up with that coloration for Ramjet, so I'm cool with it. I get it. Look, I was not a huge fan of the Earthrise Seeker mold, but I did say that I think it works better for the cone heads. And honestly, whatever coloration you want to put on it, why not? We can always use more cone heads. Even if you have the regular version of Ramjet, I can understand why you would get this one too and possibly give it another name. Yes, G2 Ramjet. The wild coloration of a great mold for cone heads takes the number 8 slot. Now, number 7 I own, but I'm not going to lie, I really didn't want to go digging back on the shelf to try and get him down from where he's to, but it's this guy. That's right, it's King Poseidon. Now, unlike some other kind of gift packs that came out for combiners, all of the members of King Poseidon were released individually. And those individual members did, in fact, get some votes. However, there were people who said, look, I want to vote for the combined form, the actual combined form of King Poseidon. I said, you know what, I'll accept it. I'll accept it because you're not saying the Seacons. As a group, that wouldn't have counted. But if you're saying that you're glad to have a version of King Poseidon himself all combined up, and that's the way he's displayed, that's the way you leave him, that's what it is, cool. And that's exactly what I have done. I do love the God Neptune version as well, but the King Poseidon is so loud and bright and boisterous, what with the fuchsias, magentas, pinks, and teals playing off of a dark black. Like, I think the head sculpt and the face is so evil and sinister. And then to top off the whole package, we have some gorgeous metallic paint used on like his trident and whatnot. What's not to like? He even has spiky feet. Granted, because it's a Takara release, I do find some of the tolerances to be a little iffy and could be a little better. I always find that with Takara releases though. I honestly find the tolerances on Hasbro things better than the tolerances on Takara things. But I usually find the look of the Takara things is better than the Hasbro things. Go figure. Any way you cut it, King Poseidon, the big boy himself, takes the number 7 slot. At number 6, we have another character that I did not ever expect I would have. I believe it was a e-hobby maybe exclusive back in, I don't know, 2002-ish, I want to say. I'm talking about Magnificus. This is the basically bad guy version of Perceptor. Some people say it's a Shattered Glass Perceptor as well, which is cool. I'm fine with that. Anyway, you cut it. When we got the Studio Series 86 Perceptor, I said to myself then, I might repurpose, repaint my Titans Return one into a version of Magnificus. And then Magnificus got announced. And I love it. I think the black and the gray work off each other nicely. I love the pearlescent that's still on here and the blood red chest. The head sculpt is a new head sculpt. It is a more toy accurate head sculpt, but Magnificus had the toy accurate head sculpt rather than the face that Perceptor has. This turns into a convincing microscope, a convincing tank mode, even though the tank mode of Perceptor is weird anyway. It takes everything good about Perceptor, gives it a black paint job, which looks sleek. Can't say black paint job, but black plastic job, and makes it look sleek with a really excellent head sculpt. Yes, great mold, great look. Takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, today we have deep cover. Yeah, this is the Selects deep cover, not the War for Cybertron Netflix deep cover. That one is blue, with like black head, black shoulders, and I think black shins. A lot of battle damage on that one. It looks really cool. I like it. I use it as a character called Vanguard, which is an homage to the bits and pieces that came with Siege Sideswipe. This one is more of like a Cybertronian police car, and I think that it's the preferred color scheme. It's clean. It has detailing even on the headlights, for example, and maybe the taillights. I can't remember. All of the tolerances, tolerances on this mold are tremendous. Really, really, really good. I often worry about the feet cracking off because I feel like they're super tight, but not here. Everything is smooth and works great and looks great. Yes. Good old Selects deep cover, because he goes deep cover. Takes the number 5 slot. Now here at number 4 we have another example of a mold that I own. I just don't own this version of it, and it's this guy. That's right, it's Galvatron. Now, some people say that this is the toy accurate coloration. Some say that this is the comic book accurate coloration. Some people said the comic book version was, I think, Galvatron 2. I'm not going to lie, I'm really not familiar with the comic book version. I look at this and I only know the toy coloration of it. I will give credit where credit is due. I think it's supposed to really embody the comic book version because it does come with the Creation Matrix, which is a really cool version, man, of the Matrix. It's the green Matrix, of course, that I think gets wielded by G-Axis at some point, by Thunderwing at some point, and of course, if you know the Precursor world, I think the Creation Matrix is the one that the Green Brilliant Convoy, or whatever it's called, wields. It's a very specific matrix. It's a great Galvatron. If you like this coloration, cool. But the mold itself is tremendous, with excellent articulation, great solidity and heft, as well as an involved, intricate, interesting transformation. Honestly, whether you have this version, the regular version from Legacy, the Kingdom version with the battle damage on it, or even the reformatting, I think it was called Behold Galvatron version, which a couple of people tried to vote for, but I think that was a Pulse exclusive rather than Generation Selects. Whatever version of this mold you have, you know what? They're great. And it's one that if you have multiple versions of it, I understand because it's just that good. Generation Selects, toy accurate / comic book accurate Galvatron takes the number 4 slot. Ah, yes, we are at top 3. And at number 3 we have a tie with this guy. That's right, Cyclonus in his toy accurate colors, and you know what, he looks brilliant. But also this guy, Rotor Storm. So let's talk Cyclonus here for a second. So Cyclonus is a great mold. Some people wanted to get this version of it because their regular, like Kingdom one, had yellowed on them. Very unfortunate. This one definitely has the nostalgias, the nostalgia feels for the G1 toy accurate coloration for sure. What with the gray thighs and the gray biceps, I like the darker rich purple that's broken up by some, you know, intricate detailing, and of course like the blue ears, which I don't hate, honestly. I was gonna get a version of this one, but I held off hoping it was gonna go on sale, and because I had heard that the left arm, the pin on the left shoulder, is sometimes so loose that that arm just goes around and around and around and around and around with zero friction. And that was a bit fearful to me. And because he came with a Target Master, he was a little bit more expensive. I never got him, but I understand people who did because that Cyclonus mold is wonderful. If you avoided the QC issue of that left shoulder, he is chef's kiss fantastic. Very close on perfect. Then we have Rotor Storm. Much the same story. The Spinister mold is tremendous. Really, really something special that got reused here. And I specifically bought this guy, honestly, because I love the G2 color scheme. It's so wild. What with its blues broken up by the purples and the silver paint and the yellows. What's not to like? Slathered in paint with excellent articulation and a really solid transformation. Cyclonus, excellent. Rotor Storm, excellent. And both of them combined takes the number 3 slot. Top 2, and at number 2 we have a Super Megatron. Look, after getting Star Convoy, I said to myself then, man, we gotta have a Super Megatron, right? I do wish this guy was a bit bigger, I'll say that, but I'm not hateful for the size that he is. This is a reuse of the Titan's Return version of Galvatron and takes everything that was garbage on that one and improves it. This guy has ankle tilt, I'm not sure if that one does. Does not have wrist, and I would have liked a panel in here on the forearm just to cover it up, but again, I'm not angry for what it is. He can do the Ultra Megatron mode. He has another version called Omega Megatron. He cannot, of course, unite with a version of Dark Nova to become Star Giant. But as he is, I think he's great. Not for nothing, I would even say that this body type is homaged yet again with the recent Studio Series concept art Leader Class Megatron that's supposed to be the Megatron of the Bumblebee movie and Rise of the Beasts. If you hear a sound over there, Starscream wife just came in the room and she just had Tessa growling. But as this is tremendous. As that is, I think it's a wonderful version of Megatron. I love the tank mode. I love the transformation. I love the plane mode. And I'm sure that the Studio Series 1 will have an excellent tank mode, and an excellent plane mode, and an excellent robot mode as well. Probably even have wrist rotation. But as it is for somebody like me, who is a very G1 very big fan of G1. This is the version of Super Megatron, Ultra Megatron that I really, really wanted. And honestly, he pairs quite nicely with Star Convoy. Enough fans feel like he's an excellent selects release that he took the number 2 slot. And now here we are at the very tippy top number 1. And number 1 won with 3.5 more times the votes that number 2 got. Like, it won by an absolute landslide, and I agree with it because it's Black Zarak. I mean, Black Zarak, in essence, this could be a version of Devil Z as well, because Devil Z took over the body of Black Zarak and, you know, led, right? Because basically Zarak was leader in Headmasters, I believe, and gets destroyed and gets rebuilt as Black Zarak, but Black Zarak it gets taken over by the like ethereal spirit-like Devil Z at one point. So like it's a really cool way to do it. You're homaging a few things here, even in terms of the smaller robot, which is what this head turns into. The smaller robot has the beaten up chest and the eye patch indicative of when he was resurrected by Vile and Jiger in Transformers Zone. So we're hitting on multiple fictions. We have arguably the best, if not one of the best, head sculpts in all of Transformers. The robot itself is the excellent Earthrise Scorponok mold, except now done in glorious black and gold. And when you put it in base mode, at least for me, it feels like a citadel. It feels like a spiritual place that Decepticons go to on a pilgrimage for some sort of enlightenment. And, not for nothing, this version you don't need to worry about GPS like the original G1, it being so delicate. I don't necessarily think it should have been as large as a Titan, but I'm not angry about it because everything that he does from articulation to transformation to head sculpt is done tremendously, tremendously well. It is a fantastic Titan, and it took the number 1 slot for Best Generation Selects Releases. And there you have it. We've gone from 10 down to 1 once again. Some others that had votes. Punch Counterpunch from Power of the Primes. I don't even know if that was a selects, to be honest with you. It was an exclusive, and that's the mistake people were making. Like a couple of people tried to vote for the Galactic Odyssey sets. They're not selects. They're Galactic Odyssey. It's a subline that was on Amazon. So people tried to vote for Velocitron. Again, I couldn't count it because that's not selects. It was its own subline. Just like selects is its own subline. Aragon had votes. He was a selects release. Zaytar had votes. Chromar had votes. All those being the Powerdashers, all of them Generation Selects. Antagony had votes. Bugbite had votes. Turtler, Overbite, Some of the Seacons individually had votes. Nothing to get excited about there. Nightbird, the Selects Nightbird had votes. The Spy Patrol pack, they gave us the minions for Earthrise Double Dealer, along with a Rumble and a Wing Thing. That got votes. Lancer, G2 Sandstorm. The Dead Optimus Prime, but that might have just been, again, that might have just been an Amazon exclusive. The Abominus, the more animation accurate Abominus gift pack. The Volcanicus gift pack. The Red Chested Swoop. Red Wing. G2 Megatron using the Earthrise mold. Lift Ticket. DK Guard, who I use as Shattered Glass Ironhide. And DK3, the Blue Trailbreaker. And Galactic Man, the repaint of Shockwave. Them and more Generation Selects. Man, there's been a lot of them, and they give us some great characters. Let me know your favorite Generation Selects release. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.